ballistic plates. Don't do that.
The 3X.
The 3X.
Pretty much it's like, I like to call it the 3+ Elite. So we went
Elite! Cool.
Always looking to be elite, folks.
Always.
What's going on, Fire Team? Welcome back to Shift Fire. I'm Israel Wright, former Green Beret. It's good to be back with you, and with me, as always,
thank you, Israel. What's going on, folks? My name is Cameron Fath, former Army Ranger, and today you are tuned in to an episode of FTX, or Field Training Exercise, where we try to bridge the gap between military training and civilian application. And today's episode is super awesome because we are not where we typically find ourselves. We are at DFNDR Armor in Camarillo, California, and specifically, we're gonna be talking about ballistic plates. Don't do that. But ballistic plates are extremely important because they provide you the protection you'll need if you ever find yourself in extremely dangerous situations like firefights. Now, we brought in two experts from DFNDR Armor that are gonna explain to us a little bit of basics about ballistic armor and why they are important.
Before we get started, folks, we want to bring your attention to these lovely t-shirts that Cameron and I have on. Yes, that's right. Shift Fire t-shirts are now available. Get yours today. More importantly, we want to ask, what's your 5-mile time?
So you are a strong man. Now what's your 5-mile time?
But what's your 5-mile?
Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our experts here. Guys, come on in.
Fellas. Yeah.
What's going on, Mark? What's going on,
Martin's
Brian?
good to see you, man. Brian, welcome. Come on in, you guys.
Yeah, get cozy, get cozy. So before we talk about ballistic plates, can you guys tell us a little bit of background on DFNDR Armor, company history, why you guys are so cool?
So the legacy of DFNDR Armor goes all the way back to the 1970s with our owner, Dave Fernandez's father, Dave Fernandez Sr. Did a lot of work for the government back then, some big Army contracts. And then Dave kind of followed in his father's footsteps and started Engents Armor Systems, which then kind of slowly transitioned to DFNDR Armor. Yeah, so DFNDR Armor has a long-standing legacy in the armor industry as far as basically the invention of unidirectional fiber and UHMWPE, which is the polyethylene that a lot of people are familiar with now and going into this lightweight armor. DFNDR Armor has always been at the tip of that spear of innovation and pushing the science as far as how far we can push this, as far as how strong this armor is versus how lightweight it is and how well it performs, not just meeting the standard of NIJ standards, but going much more above and beyond that typical standard to outperform anything else that's on the market today.
And you mentioned lightweight armor, man, and you know, first impression of DFNDR, because this was the first exposure I really had to these, except for working with Haley Strategic, which you guys have a pretty good relationship with them. I picked one of these plates up and I thought it was a styrofoam showroom insert because I am so used to, especially just, I got out of Ranger Regiment in end of 2018 and we just made the switch to level 4, which, you know, eliminated that need for the soft armor behind your actual plate. It was still heavy. That's the main thing. It was like, okay, yeah, wearing, you know, plate carrier for over 12 hours, 14 hours a day, you're still gonna feel it. But I could not believe how lightweight these plates were, and I think that's an amazing advantage, especially because you needed that endurance when you're wearing the plate carriers.
So gentlemen, let me ask you, we're looking at the plates here. I see we have like a bulletproof vest over here. What would you say is the difference mainly between like soft armor and hard armor? Is it like a material thing? Is it I don't know, what do you say?
So soft armor is basically a bunch of layers of similar material. It's usually Kevlar in this case, just sewn together in a plate bag. While we have a hard plate right here, it's the same material pressed together, compressed, making it a little more denser and take a little more beating.
Oh, okay.
So basically, one soft, one hard.
Right on.
Easy.
I like that.
And I mean, you're gonna see, you know, ballistic limitations between soft and hard armor, correct? So soft armor is only gonna be rated to a specific just because it is so thin. And then when you're looking to get into higher calibers, like the ones we see on the table here, it's gonna be able to stop a little bit more.
Right, correct.
Okay, so I see we have a lot of different plates on the table here. Do you guys wanna give us a little bit of background on these plates? What's the difference between them? Because obviously some of them look similar, some of them have different cuts, some of them are thinner. What's the deal, Mark?
We have our 3A, the hard version. So compared to, it does everything the same as usual regular soft armor 3A, but ours could take a little more beating just because of its compressed and condensed, a little denser. So we got a variety of different 9mm right here, 40 Smith & Wesson, 45, 357 SIG, 357 mag, and 44 mag. Both the soft and hard armor could take those rounds, but what's different between our hard armor and the soft armor is this could take a little more beating, like the P90 round, the 5.7. It could take a few rounds of those. They're more, I guess, higher grade ammo for 9mm these days, because ammo right now, the technology's increased a lot. Now for me personally, like something harder in between me and a bullet, I mean, I feel more safe. But
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
Well, you know,
this would
it's
be a
not a
shooter.
wild wazoo opinion in the fact that you're looking for the most protection.
All right, going up to the next one, we got this one. Looks like this is your level 3, a little bit thicker.
So level 3 is now going to the big boys. Our rifle level plates. Our level 3 is 2.9 pounds, contrary to what I used in the past.
Yeah, that's such a light plate, dude.
Oh yeah, I remember back in what? I was in Iraq in 2008, man. That's a lot of weight.
Back
to
in
carry.
Nam, back in Korea.
Back in the old days, young whippersnappers don't even know.
And for NIJ standards, take up 5.56, M193 ball, 7.62 by 39 ball, and M80, 7.62 by 51.
You mentioned NIJ. So for those of viewers that don't know what NIJ rating is or NIJ standards, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so NIJ is the National Institute of Justice. They're a agency that basically make the minimal requirements that are safe for these items. But NIJ, in my opinion, is a minimum safe standard for us as we kind of push the boundaries of NIJ. When people are always looking for NIJ standard plates, and I feel like they don't know what exactly they're looking for. They're just looking for that little check mark system.
Yeah, would you
You're looking to check the block kind of thing.
Would you say it's similar to when someone's like searching on eBay and they find a piece of equipment that says mil spec and they're like, oh, it's military, it must be great. But in reality, it fucking sucks. Yeah, so, okay, NIJ standard is kind of that, check the blocks, that mil spec thing that people are looking for.
Yeah, just that minimal standard that us manufacturers need to meet.
Okay,
Nice.
Wonderful. All right, man. Yeah, keep on going. So what do we have here?
Look what we got.
The
What's it,
3A.
3 plus.
Okay.
3 plus.
So we're going up a little bit, right?
So 3 plus, now we're getting to stuff like this NIJ doesn't recognize. So NIJ only recognizes level 3 to level 4. And this is like the gray area. Like that's why these are called special threat plates.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's just a bunch of rounds that the NIJ hasn't had time to recognize or test for themselves.
Hey, they got a lot to do.
So 3 plus is basically better material of our 3. So our level 3 is 2.9 pounds.
It's so light, man.
Now we reduced it to 2.5 pounds.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy, man. And yet, would you say a little bit better protection or maybe a comparable but for a different purpose?
It's actually a little better protection.
All right.
So not only it takes the same rounds, but we have some higher grade rounds right here. 7.62 by 39 Russian PS ammo, which is like their equivalent of our green tip, and then the Chinese mild steel core round.
Wow, nice, man.
Yeah, because when you're looking at the NIJ ratings, they just say 5.56. They just say 7.62. They don't really elaborate because you look at this array of different ballistic protection and you're considering for the advancements of round technology because they keep getting, like you said, with the 9mm, they keep getting better, they keep getting more lethal. So just having an NIJ standard isn't necessarily going to offer you the protection from rounds because if you got money, you can get anything nowadays.
Brian, can you tell me how you guys came up with the intermediate plates? Because you guys said that the NIJ recognizes, like 3 and 4. What brought these along? What made you come up with these?
Mainly to tailor to specific threats, like the green tip, which became real popular. We wanted to have a level of plate between the standard NIJ plates. Everybody understands a 3, everybody understands a 4. We wanted to have something a little more custom, a little more tailored between those standard ratings. A lot of that was the green tip round for the 3++. Somebody didn't want to go with the full weight of a level 4 and their unit was just mainly looking to stop that threat. They could go with our 3++ and not have to spend the extra weight and the money on the level 4 system.
The first question you ask is, what kind of situation do I primarily find myself? Especially if you're a civilian, just rocking a plate carrier in your garage and you see a threat coming and you're like, it's the fan and you need quick protection, you're probably gonna go to like a 3 or a 3+. You're not gonna really look for that 4 because in the civilian world, you're not really going to counter big boys like this, but for military application, that's great.
Yeah.
So that's something you really need to consider when you're looking towards plate selection. So moving on to the 3++, right? So what advantages is the plus going to offer you over the 3+? I mean, obviously we have different rounds here.
So now with the 3++, it's a hybrid plate. It's a ceramic crystallized front plate with a polyethylene backing bonded together.
Okay.
So now you could take the more penetrating rounds like the green tip that we get standard issue in the military and very widely available to civilians right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I got guys hounding me, where can I get green tip? Where can I get green tip? And I was like, I don't fucking know, man. I barely got ammo myself.
Why ceramic? Because maybe when the average person hears the word ceramic, They think like, you know, little ceramic pots.
Pottery.
Is that what
they
we're
think of
looking at?
Israel reaching around me and me working the, you know, the pot, the ghost.
It's a little different type of ceramic. I can't remember the material top of my head. It's a more sturdier type of ceramic that helps us disperse the energy and catches the cores of these rounds.
Okay, and a little bit lighter?
Depending.
Okay.
Depending what we're trying to stop.
What you're trying to stop. And the cut here looks a little bit different.
So this is the original regular sappy cut, which most of us in the military are very familiar with.
Very familiar.
But some people, they have trouble shouldering their weapons with plate carriers, so that's where this shoulder cuts. There's more of an angle on this plate.
So they have more freedom of movement up here, more meat up there.
Yeah, more, basically you can shoulder the weapon better.
I mean, it's important to consider too, because, you know, if you're looking for ballistic protection, what are you trying to protect, right?
Yes.
The box, everything, all the important stuff right here. That's why, you know, rocking those giant old plate carriers that covered everything, it just weigh you down.
Right.
And we started to realize through battlefield medicine is, you know, I could take a round to my arm and be okay due to the trauma care we now are available to use. Starting to downgrade your ballistic protection to, you know, kind of up your speed and your endurance is gonna be pretty substantial and give you an advantage.
Everything's a give or take, basically.
Yeah, literally, you're scaling out what you're willing to give and what your risk versus reward, if you will. But cool, man. I love this plate specifically because, in my opinion, it's like, okay, all these rounds we've listed are available on the civilian market, and as we start to go here, I recognize some of these, and I'm like, okay, these are going to be harder to get. And as a civilian, I'm thinking this might be the master plan right here for me. But let's keep moving down the list here. What do we have here?
Now, right here we have our second highest level, the 3X.
The 3X.
Pretty much, it's like it's a little brother basically to the level 4. Pretty much, it takes everything we said before, even the higher caliber penetrating rounds like armor piercing 308, MA55A1, and just many more.
Yeah, okay.
I love it. It's like an assembly line. It's like you get all the benefits of the previous plates and this build as well.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. I mean, let's just knock out the last plate carrier because I got a good question for you. So what do we have on the
mother
end
of all
here?
plates.
The mother.
Pretty much what the standard issue military usually gets are level 4s.
Yep.
Level 4s for NIJ needs to take at least one armor piercing 30-06 M2 round.
Okay. That's a big boy round.
Yeah, that's a very big.
That is a big boy round. So typically something you'd see overseas. But awesome, man. All these plates offer so much protection, especially the cool thing about Defender Armor is you're getting that lightweight plate that, you know, that I didn't even know existed, and makes it so much more beneficial to wear a plate carrier. Because I started, you know, in my mindset, I was okay, what do I want to be? I want to be fast, and I want to be, you know, if I get shot, I get shot. You know, at least I go out in a pile of my own brass. And I'm starting to think, you know, as a civilian, chest rig, so I can be super fast and super mobile. Because, you know, that guerrilla warfighting we saw in the movie Patriot, you know, shoot, move to a covered concealed position, shoot, move to a covered concealed position. Seeing how lightweight these things are just start to change my mind. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can offer myself a little bit more ballistic protection without sacrificing the weight. So this has, you know, opened my eyes to the world of plates. Now, let me ask you though, what are some things that you guys are, like some questions from, you know, maybe potential consumers, potential customers that ask you guys that when you tell them about plates, they're like, oh, I never realized that before, or I never considered that when searching for plates. Like as far as like how many rounds can ballistic plates realistically take before they're out of commission? One
thing I do let people know, so when most people, they try to buy the strongest material, so they usually try to buy a level 4 or even law enforcement. And I try to tell them, you know, be realistic. What's the threat you're potentially thinking gonna face?
Yeah, look at all these bullets. How many of these bullets are you really gonna realistically encounter in your life?
But they have to also consider, plates are a consumable item. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Like, if you buy a level 4 and you get shot by like a 9mm, you know what I mean? Technically, regular SOP for law enforcement and military, you're getting rid of this plate and getting
a new one. Yeah.
Exactly.
They're just, they're consumable. I had never really thought about that. Like, yeah, you get shot and that's it. You've used your plate.
You're done, man.
It's saved your life.
It's an AT4. You can shoot it and it's done. You throw it away. It's just like once you get shot, there's no using this plate again.
Yeah, like for example, our 3X, I've shot with I don't know, a few dozen rounds of 45 ACP. All it does is just rip the cover. It does nothing to the plate, but just because it's been compromised and it's been shot at, you have to get rid of it and replace it.
Yeah, and that brings up a really good point is, let's talk price tags on these. I know going into like ceramic plate and you're starting to see that increase in price, right? Because I mean, ceramic doesn't really start until the 3++, if that's correct, right? But after these aren't considered ceramic, these are just hard plates, right?
Yep, polyethylene or composite.
Let's just talk about the 3++ plate, which I believe is the master plate. How much is this gonna run somebody?
It is $550 per plate.
Per plate, right?
Per plate.
So you're looking to spend over $1,000 for ballistic protection, and potentially more, because do these have an expiration date?
They do.
Okay. Yeah, these are things that people don't realize. I'm still using a Ceradyne Ops Core helmet that I bought on eBay because I was cheap, and now it is so old that I'm sure if I got shot in the face, it would not stop anything. It's literally just something to hold my Peltor.
Right.
So, what's NIJ standard for expiration on plates?
So it's usually just 5 years. Now that's not to say this will go bad in 5 years. I mean, there's a lot of variables that has to be considered, like are you in a hot, humid area, very cold area, are you throwing this around?
Yeah.
It's just an industry standard to have 5 years, but in reality, our plates could probably last you 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Saying that they never get compromised, correct? That
Correct.
they're treated like babies.
Correct.
Because I remember we would go every year in regiment and bring our plates to, the Rift Center, which was the Ranger issue facility where you get all the Gucci gear, and that's why everybody goes to regiment, because they want the best. But we would go and we would turn in our plates and they would literally make sure there's no cracks in them. When you bring your chick in when she's pregnant, they ultrasound her and make sure everything's good to go. That happens with these plates as well.
Correct.
Let me ask you guys something. A lot of plate manufacturers out there, right? It's a big market for it. What sets Defender apart from everybody else? If you could sell yourself, what would you say?
So we're 100% American made. Everything's done in-house.
Sold. America! Yeah!
Sold. I'm done. I'm there.
Yeah, keep going, man.
And we do a lot of our own independent testing, like as you can see from all the rounds right here. Unfortunately, we didn't have all the rounds to show because I shot them all.
Perks of the job.
So even more than what we see, you shot all those against these different plates and stuff like that to
Yep.
test them out yourself.
Yes.
Nice.
We're always trying to go above and beyond what the minimal standards are. You know what I mean? Just so we over-design these things. So these are life-saving devices. So we want to make sure our customer gets the best. That's why they're so expensive, because we want you guys to have the best and feel protected.
I think that's an amazing reason as to why they're priced at what they are. You pay for what you get, right? Yeah. There's a saying, buy once, cry once. I typically like to cry
Buy nice,
multiple
buy
times.
twice.
Yeah, buy nice or buy twice.
Being cradled by
Yeah.
a loving woman. Yes.
Exactly. So, start considering where the money should actually be. And I absolutely believe that this is an amazing reason to where you should put it.
So we see all these plates and there's different class ratings, right? We're going up 3, 3A, 3++, all that kind of stuff. Is that an in-house designation or is that kind of an industry standard?
So this is, for us, it's in-house. So 3A, 3 to 4 is pretty much universal in the industry. But the special thread ones, how they classify them, is going to be different depending on the company.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Nice.
And you said Defender, really sets that standard in the ballistic armor industry.
Yeah.
So that classification, is almost a guarantee, right? That's a promise that, hey, this will stop. What we say it's going to stop. And I think that's what sets Defender super, super apart from the others. Yeah, because obviously there's a lot of others that sell, let's say, steel plates, right? Very affordable. What is gonna dictate someone buying this plate over a steel plate that might cost, 80% less?
So yes, steel plates are very, very cheap and widely available compared to these plates. Basically, it's a give and take of what you guys want. You want to move around fast and take a lot of rounds and hopefully don't get hit by spalling.
Yeah.
Spalling, now what's that?
Elaborate on that, because I'm sure people don't know what that is.
Spalling is basically when a bullet hits a steel plate, at least, or basically the small fragments or projectiles coming out, breaking apart on the steel plates. Now for these types of plates, they actually catch the round and disperses the energy around, so it doesn't feel as bad when you get hit.
All right.
While steel plates, you're getting 3,000 feet per second hitting against your chest, and if you don't have a trauma pad, breaking a lot of bones in there.
It's preventing penetrating trauma. You're still getting blunt force trauma,
Right.
you know? And it's hard to run away from bullets, especially with a couple broken ribs and some frag in your face from, you know, the steel core just blowing up in your
And
face.
not only if you like for your own safety, but like if you're with people, like if you're conducting like room clearing, you're always gonna be with a team. So you gotta worry about your buddies. You know what I mean? I don't want to hit my guy. That's the worst feeling ever.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, fratricide is a big thing. And so you're saying that armor or steel plates have the potential of ricocheting and that going off and hitting one of your guys if it actually hits you.
Yeah, correct.
So yeah, that's good. That's enough reason right there.
Let me ask you about the manufacturers, because obviously for you at home, you can't maybe see this, but the front, very solid, right? And then the back, it's actually kind of mushy and stuff. That's by design?
Yes. So normally in the military, we get issued in conjunction with or ICW plates. So basically it's a ceramic or polyethylene plate with a soft armor backing.
It's two pieces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's
cool.
what I was used to running until we replaced the 3 alphas with level 4s, and because we had to run one of these. Let me see that soft armor right there. So we would have to run both of these in our plate carrier. So you would put your main plate in, and then you put soft armor behind it, and that's what you were running. So it got a little heavy. It got a little heavy.
Now for us, we call ours standalone plates. So standalone meaning you don't need a back, trauma pad, soft armor, whatever. So you're just good to go. You just put in the
Amazing,
armor.
man. That's absolutely amazing.
And people complain kind of like how thick these are. Like if you get a regular plate and you put soft armor behind it, it's about the same thickness.
So gentlemen, I'm noticing we got one plate kind of by itself here in the front. What differentiates this plate from every other plate?
So this would be a improved version of the 3+. We like to call it the 3+ Elite. So we went
Elite! Cool.
Always looking to be elite, folks.
Always.
So we went from our standard level 3, which is 2.9 pounds, and we went to our next 3+ to 2.5 pounds, to our now Elite, which is soon to be released, I'm not sure when, nor do I know the price point, to 2.1 pounds, while still giving you the same level of protection.
So same protection here, but lighter.
Yes.
Dude, I love that. So this 3+ Elite, I just want to do a little comparison because I'm all about being comfortable no matter what's going on. So we got a classic steel plate. Hold that one hand, and then that's about what, like 11, 12 pounds or something like that? Yeah.
11 pounds.
And then you got this new prototype coming out soon, and it's like featherweight, man.
I said, the second you handed it, I was like, oh my God. Because this thing, how light is this?
2.1 pounds?
2.1 pounds.
So you got less than 5 pounds with both a front and a back plate.
Correct.
I can tell you, I've seen dudes put cardboard in their plate carriers, and that weighs more than this.
Yeah, the foam
that
like
is so
display
cool.
pads, yeah.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about the Elite then?
The Elite is basically us trying to be more innovative, pushing the standards constantly. And we weren't really satisfied with 2.5 pounds, so,
Of course, way too heavy. 5 pounds, way too heavy. Well, you guys have talked a lot about ballistic protection and the plates you guys offer here at Defender, but plates aren't the only thing you guys do, correct?
Correct.
You guys do soft goods as well.
Yes.
Let's check out a couple soft goods you guys offer.
So I've been talking a lot about armor, so I'm going to hand it over to our soft goods designer, Brian.
Thanks, Mark.
Come on in here, Brian.
Come on over, Brian. Welcome.
We got questions for you.
We've been hanging out in the outskirts. We're ready to welcome you to the inner circle.
Exactly.
Let us know, what are we looking at here, man?
So our soft goods department, I like to say it's still kind of in its infancy because we have so much more growing to do. But we have now recently brought everything in-house. So we actually produce our main plate carrier, our QRC, is all being made in-house.
Nice.
Nothing is outsourced. We just like our armor, we go from a raw material to a finished product, all within our 4 walls. This is a Defender covert carrier. Some of these are out there floating around. They've been discontinued recently, but they may make a reoccurrence soon. But this is how our soft goods got started. We had guys requesting something that was very low pro to hold a plate that could go underneath a sweatshirt or a jacket or a blazer. So we came up with this, and this was our covert carrier. It works really, really well when you're putting 3A handgun armor in there because it's very
super lean.
It keeps it very thin, very lean. It's a stretch material on there, so it kind of conforms. You're moving around, and this did very well for us. But it was time to move on to some other things, and we had departments looking for something a little more robust. We moved on to what is our QRC plate carrier. You guys had a chance to play with this one, I believe.
Yeah, we did. Before I go into it, tell us about the designs. Why did you guys decide to branch off to a full-scale plate carrier? Who you guys would target to specifically utilize this?
The way we went about designing a plate carrier, well, first and foremost, we are an armor company. We make plates. So a lot of times you'll see companies out there that make plate carriers, but they don't make armor. Or they make armor and they don't make plate carriers. We're in a unique position where we actually can make both. So from a design standpoint, we wanted to blend those two things together as seamlessly as possible with the least amount of material, least amount of wiggle room, things like that. So when we design the carrier, the size follows the plate and not the person. So if it's a medium carrier, it's meant for medium-sized plates. If it's a large carrier, it's meant for large plates, extra large carrier, extra large plates. There's some plate carriers on the market that are gonna be called universal. They'll have a lot of straps inside. You can like take a medium plate and stick it in an extra large carrier, and you're gonna have to kind of position it. We don't like that route because it's too easy to get off position for where the plate should sit on your body to be exactly in the right position to protect you. So we custom tailor everything. So the plate bag is custom tailored to the size of the plate. And that's just the way we've done it. That's the way we're going to continue to do it. We wanted something that was very simple, the least amount of material possible to use, but scalable, modular. It could be run slick if you wanted to. The main reason we came up with the QRC is we had some individuals that wanted something that was releasable. This was before some of the popular release mechanisms were out there, like the first spear tubes, which everyone's very familiar with. We designed this before that was kind of available to the mass market. First spear was kind of keeping that close to their chest. So we went with ITW Nexus on this release hardware, and it's worked very, very well for us, and it's just stayed that way. This happens to be the newest iteration of the QRC carrier that we do. So you'll notice all the laser cut on here. So we got away from a lot of the webbing. There's actually zero webbing on this entire carrier. There's no webbing whatsoever. Everything is a laser cut laminate. This is squadron laminate material. We still incorporate the drag handle. However, we had some people that like it, some people that don't like it. So on the new iteration, we allow you to take this off if you don't want. You can reach in there and undo this and remove it and run it slick if you want to. We did add one feature to this 2.0 QRC, which was the Velcro that's hidden up under here. So if you want to pull this skeletonized waistband off of here and run more like an elastic Velcro, which we have a version of that coming out just for this carrier this year. Hopefully in the next couple months we'll be releasing that. You could take this off, run a elastic style waistband on here. So that was a new feature upgrade that we did for the QRC this year.
Say what QRC means.
Quick release carrier.
QRC stand for quick release carrier?
Yes, the release hardware that we have on here. So this will actually come apart in 4 different places. And these are really easy to pop. You don't have to think about the direction or anything like that. You know, most people would think of this more as maybe a maritime thing, having all 4 release points. I kind of like it because when you want to, you can pack all this stuff down really, really tight when it's going in a bag. You know what I mean? So that's kind of one of the things I like about it. But then in a medical emergency situation like that, trauma situation, it is nice to just pop it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I definitely noticed. We have this Cry-APC here, and it's got the quick release points, but you still need to undo the Velcro up top flap if you're not running any side release panels on it. This one is upgraded with it, but say you're just running it slick, you still either need to cut this bad boy off someone, or with like my JPC, if I don't have any modifications done to where I could quick release it, it needs to be cut off me. That was one thing that I really appreciated about this plate carrier. Now with that in mind, who do you guys want using this plate carrier? Because obviously we're looking at these plate carriers and they're 2 completely different plate carriers. This one's mission ready, right? Obviously there's a lot more pouches on here, there's a lot more going on here. This one is more of a low pro, very slick, very lightweight. Who would you want be rocking this?
Right, so you have more of a combat setup here, obviously. This is a very, very robust carrier. It's meant to be, kicked around in the sand quite a bit and to be worn for extended periods of time with a lot of gear on there, holding a lot of weight. This one is a much more lightweight system. This is more geared towards, we do have a lot of law enforcement that buys this, more for like active shooter kits, things like that. They'll keep it in the trunk of the car. It's very simple. It's just a couple plates and a few straps. They're not going to be adding on tons of pouches and sustainment kits and anything like that. They wanted something that was a quick throw-on active shooter kit. So we see a lot of that. The civilian market, especially here in the United States, we sell a lot of armor to civilians, and we're now seeing a lot of civilians purchasing plate carriers.
Absolutely.
And starting with something simple like this that's still modular, they can add on pouches if they want to. They can add on packs to the back if you want to. We give them that ability with all the laser cut moly that's in here. However, as it comes, it's a very simple kit. Not necessarily a combat kit like you would have here for a lot of weight
distribution on it.
Absolutely.
This would be made to stay lightweight. Now we do make side pouches, we make side armor as well, so you can still put those on here and it'll take that no problem whatsoever. We do offer the modularity of being able to add on the Swift Clip hardware on the front for placards.
And will this accommodate any placard or only Defender placard?
Well, pretty much every placard out there that's following the kind of the standard. So when you see these buckles like this on plate carriers or the spots where you can add the buckles on, typically this is 9 inches across here, and these are 1-inch buckles. This is pretty much a standard that everyone's using. Cry, Spiritus, First Spear. Everyone's following that standard. There is one company that's not following that standard. I don't know if we should call them out by name, but they use a 3/4 inch clip. It's a little bit more difficult, so you have to buy their placards. But we try to keep it standard. So you can run a Haley rig on this, you could run a Spiritus rig on this. We don't want to like tie it into a box where you have to run our stuff. You
Absolutely.
know, we're not Apple. So
Not proprietary.
I have to think of it more as maybe like an Android. So we also make this placard. This is one of our new placards that we released just recently, and again, it's got the Squadron laser cut laminate on there. This is an elastic retention magazine placard. This is nothing new. These are out there on the market. Other companies are making them. However, we wanted to do ours kind of our way. One thing that I really wanted to make sure of is that when you don't have any magazines in here and you need to re-index, this isn't sitting flat where you have to use 2 hands and pull it open. It's always going to stay open no matter what. So you're always going to have the ability to one-hand this stuff back in here.
And that's super critical because, you know, thinking about not emergency reload, but tactical reloading where you need to reset your magazine in a pouch. You know, I used to run the Blue Force Gear 10-speed elastic one, super fast pouch, right? Let's take a look at his gear. The Roland chest rig, 3. He only has 2 magazines on him with 4 magazines. Let's see what you got, buddy. Oh, he's taking SSE. Look at that, he's taking. They worked really well, but the biggest problem I had is, you know, if I tried to tactical reload, putting that back in the pouch was something really hard. So I appreciate the thought process of like the minute details that, you know, people that are utilizing plate carriers, like our beloved law enforcement and our executive protection guys out there that would be more accustomed to this type of plate carrier, those minute details are really considered. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, this is like a dream come true for me, man. 12 years ago, 14
Back
years
in
ago,
my day.
No, this looks a lot more familiar for me. And I would have another row of magazines here, 6 magazines right there. I'd have the, you know, the radio pouch and stuff like that. Yeah, even this is lighter than what I ran with. So looking at the way that the technology has advanced and just the modularity and the breadth of situations that you can use this for or design this for and switch out different components for, man, it's really impressive.
You know, this has our, I believe we put 3+ medium plates in here, and with the carrier and everything, this is should be just over 6 pounds, I think, the whole thing.
Get out of here,
You know what I
man.
mean? You're going to add a bit with your mags and things like that, but
About a pound each.
starting out as your foundation, 6 pounds is pretty good for the whole carrier.
All
As
day.
opposed to, you know, if you went with something that's not made in the United States, with steel in there, you know, this guy is, this is probably 20-something pounds, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
At least.
And, you know, not as modular. This is just like bare bones. You pay for what you
see
get.
a lot of fabric and stuff, like real heavy, real bulky, you know.
Yeah.
You're going to ring like a bell when you get hit, and hopefully none of this spalling comes off of here and charge you in the neck.
Not to mention the stitching on that might break carrying that heavy of plate. I did own one of those. That was my first plate carrier ever. Airsoft days, man. Airsoft days. But what's the price on this? Where can they get these? Do you guys have suppliers? Do you guys do everything in-house out of your own website? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, so
How do I get my hands on one of these?
we do manufacture in-house as well as sell on our website. So on DefenderArmor.com, you can purchase our plate carrier, you can purchase our placards. We do have a small network of distributors that do sell our products as well. Just do a quick, online search, and you'll find some of our stuff floating around out there. But we tend to keep most things in stock on our website. And this carrier, the QRC 2.0, is running $350 right now. But with that, you get both plate bags, you get the shoulder strap covers, you get the waistband, you get just about everything that you're going to need to get started. And it does come with a Molly placard that's on the front here. It's a blank one.
So you can attach any pouches that you may have had
Yeah, it's not
beforehand.
on this one right now, but there is a blank panel that does come with it, and it's just blank Molly. You can add your own pouches on there, do whatever you want to do. It does include the hardware too, which is nice. And a lot of people reached out a long time ago asking, where do I get this hardware from to run placards? And we started selling the hardware separately online as well. It's actually been a big seller.
All right.
But we do include it with the carrier.
That's
So
fantastic.
$350 on the QRC. These placards, these triple mag placards, are running $65. We do make side plate pouches, and we have a 2.0 version of those coming out very soon. And we also sell another Moly panel that has the hardware on it too. So if you want to build out another placard that's really heavy, has a lot of weight to it, this one has hardware on it as well.
That's super impressive. You guys really, you can tell the thought process that went into it. And you guys have a bit of an advantage being you're the plate manufacturer and you're manufacturing your own plate carriers.
Yes.
So you get to marry the two ideas together and kind of cross-pollinate ideas.
It just made sense, you know.
Yeah, you definitely got the competitive advantage right there in the industry.
When designing our plate carrier, the plate bags themselves, I had mentioned, are size specific to the plate. So being an armor manufacturer, that's very beneficial. Our armor is manufactured to these standards, the military standards. So your mediums, you have two mediums. One's a 9.5 by 12.5. One's a 10 by 12. Is like kind of an industry standard. Your larges and then your extra larges are all the way up to 11 by 14. Knowing these numbers and being very familiar with these sizes of plates helps us to tailor these to be the right size for the plate. If you look at some of the websites out there, some of the other companies that make plate carriers, and you look at the sizing on it, it gets kind of squirrely. They'll say it takes this size plate, but it might be a size of plate that's not really a standard. So you have some of these carrier companies that don't know a whole lot about the armor, and it can get kind of squirrely when you try to link numbers up with each other. And so that's why I was saying it's, you know, some companies make armor but not carriers, some companies make carriers but not armor. Us making both, we're able to kind of put together a system that's really, really meant to be together, and you're not going to have any issues with, is this the right size plate for this? Is this the right size carrier for this plate? Everything's going to mesh together very,
Yeah,
very
I can
well.
second that. I bought a set of ceramic plates for my JPC. Unfortunately, not by you guys, but when I tried putting them in the JPC, it was a tight.
I think the
fit.
JPC wants the mill plates, which is 9.5 by 12.5,
Yeah.
and not the 10 by 12, which is kind of a standard industry.
Yeah, because it was a really tight. I mean, it ended up fitting, but like you could see, you know,
like
your
you're gonna
shoulder
break it.
straps were like kind of offset of each other, and it just wasn't a good fit. Not to mention the plate was a little bit of cheaper. All right, fellas. Well, thank you so much for, you know, not only explaining plates, showing us your amazing facility here, but ultimately educating everybody on why ballistic plates should be considered and why they're so important. Martin, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, right.
It was great.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Before we, you know, head out here, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you guys?
You can follow us on Instagram for Defender Armor, or you can go to our website, defenderarmor.com.
Like I said, thank you guys so much. We hope you enjoyed this episode of FTX. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can stay up on the latest from Shift Fire. Make sure if you enjoyed this video to hit that like button. Go crazy in the comments section. Let us know your thoughts about ballistic armor or your experiences with ballistic armor. Go ahead and share this video with your friends. And till next time, this has been Shift Fire. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel so you can stay up with the latest from Shift Fire. Israel,
What?
you're handsome.
No.
Just kidding. I don't know. What
I lost my train of
missed?
thought.
I lost my
I don't
train of
know,
thought.
man.
I'm getting the sneezes.
You want me to do Facebook? Yep. Like this page, share, like.